All right, we are back with another Pick'em video. Going to be talking NBA in this one. We got a big slate, so a ton of NBA games. So attacking this one early, getting some early value in. But this is definitely a day where I'll be able to attack the board later on and kind of see a whole different board as more lines are added, injuries are figured out, and fantasy scores are up. So if you're interested in maybe a follow-up video on the altered lines or whatever, let me know in the comments. Just comment anything down below. It will let me know that you guys want some more videos for today, more picks. But if you're new, definitely go ahead and subscribe. We rip out daily content like this every single day. And leave the video a like, just gets the video out there a little bit more. And like always, going to go over the video picks from last time before we jump into the board. Again, early value, so a lot of these may get bumped. So just hit me up in the comments if you still have questions about the bumps, or just join the Discord. I'm pretty active in the Discord, and definitely going to answer questions in there. But Embiid absolutely crushed it today. He won the battle of the MVPs. Jokic goes very much under this 9.5 line. So these are both great reads. Tobias right in the middle there ends up being a hook for us. I think he shot 2 for 4 from 3 on the night. So it wasn't a horrible read. He didn't shoot a whole bunch, but ends up going 2 for 4, which is not bad. But the hook hurts there. And then Bradley Beal ends up pushing for us. That was a weird game. Grayson Allen looked like the best player in the Suns, a team with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. Grayson Allen was the best player on that team pretty much through 3 quarters. And then Kevin Durant kind of went nuclear to kind of bring it to a closer game. I think they still lost, but yeah, they made it a game. It was definitely a fun day for the NBA. And the hit rate's not bad for these picks, but in a 4-man power play, it's not going to get it done. So let's jump into the board. Again, we got a whole bunch of value right now. Lines are popping up like crazy. So we're just going to attack it as quickly as we can. So let's get in there. All right, so before we get into things, I want to preface that I'm going to be going over 6 plays, going to give you guys the analytics, the data behind why I'm choosing them and why I like them. Now, I'm going to put into a 6-man slip that I have played personally, and that doesn't mean you have to tail it exactly. It's very mathematically likely that I'm not going to hit all 6, but with my mind working together with your mind and you guys being able to see why I like these lines, maybe you can pick and choose your favorite from these. I'm just trying to get you guys the most value. I'm not a YouTuber that just brings 2 lines for you guys and celebrates their 2-man hits. I'm just trying to give you guys as much value, and right now there's a bunch on the board. So again, you can go ahead and pick and choose your favorites of these, but if you like all 6, it's a slip that I'm riding with for sure. But we're going to start off with Jalen Duren, 13.5 points. He's been very consistent on this line, but let's jump into his stats, what he's been doing so far this year, especially with no Cade Cunningham. Now, going over to Outlier is one of my partners. Any of the tools I'm using, guys, definitely go check them out. They have free trials, most of them. If not a free trial, they have a discount. Outlier does have a free trial. It's a 7-day free trial. So just go check them out. It's a tool that I use every single day. But here we got Jalen Duren here without Cade Cunningham. 4 or 4 times he's gone over this. Now, it is a tough matchup going against Minnesota. It does have blowout potential. So that's the only thing on this line. But we are getting a pretty big discount on this line. It was up to like 15.5 on some of these other games. Now, he hasn't had the hardest matchups with Washington and San Antonio and even Sacramento here, but tougher defense against Houston, was able to get 15. And he's kind of the head honcho, been shooting a decent amount and at a very good clip. So he is going up against Gobert. He is going up against Towns that give up the 5th least amount of points, 17.2 to centers. But just recently, they did give up 14 points to Duop Reith. That's all Duren would need, and he's definitely the better player of these 2 guys. And this was a blowout, 26-point game or whatever. He ended up playing 24 minutes. So if Duren gets the minutes, it should be a very good lock. But if it's a blowout, that is the potential there, and that could hurt us. But let's jump over to Odds Jam, kind of check out the odds as well. They like the under rebounds and assists at 12.5, but not a whole bunch of data points to go off. Same with that points and assist line. It also is a great line. He's been diming up, getting pretty consistently 2+ assists, especially without Cade out or with Cade out. But the 13.5 points, everywhere else has got this at 14.5, including underdog. So I'm liking the 13.5 value. I think this will probably get bumped up to 14.5. And again, just the only thing we're worried about is that blowout potential. But the odds like it, the hit rate's been amazing. Do want to check it over on RotoWire. Again, Odds Jam, RotoWire, also partners of the channel. Check them out if you want to get those discounts or free trials. But Jalen Duren, 12.5 rebounds and assists. They're pretty much predicting everything on the over. But we're going to his points, 13.5. That's actually the top of the line here. Sportsbooks are liking it. Pick'em sites are liking it. And RotoWire is projecting 16.46, even in the tough matchup. So really liking Jalen Duren, and that's going to be the first guy we go to. Next up, we're going to go to the Orlando Magic versus the Atlanta Hawks game. I'm definitely seeing a decent amount of value in this game. Now, the Magic are typically a good defensive team. They are a little bit banged up. No Gary Harris, no Franz Wagner still. So I'm going to be going to Paolo Banchero, especially with those guys still out. Going to be going to his 6.5 rebounds and going over here. He's been hitting this rate, pretty consistently, especially without Franz Wagner. But I'll let Outlier kind of do the speaking for itself, seeing the hit rate, and then we'll go into the odds. But we got Paolo here. Let's pull up his page. 6.5 rebounds again, going up against. Unlike the Minnesota matchup for Duren, this is a great matchup in terms of rebounds allowed, in terms of really anything. And Pal has been, pretty consistently hitting this line, especially again with no Franz Wagner in the lineup. 7 of the last 10 games he's gone over this. I do want to point out with games without Franz though. In 2023 as a whole, 67%. That's 4 of 6 games. And again, pretty easy matchup, solid matchup against Atlanta, a team that he has played, recently and just got 10 assists back on the 7th. So about 10 days ago. And he crushed this line. So really liking Paolo in this spot. In the head-to-head, again, this is without Franz Wagner. So that's even a better data point to look at. But he has played these guys twice this year and got over in both matchups with or without Franz, and just been getting consistent minutes. He's kind of blossoming into a star or getting to that next level this season, and really liking him. And the odds are favoring it as well. So let's go to Paolo over on OddsJam, see what the lines are saying, see where the market is putting this line. And we'll see that 6.5 rebounds is actually the top of the page here for him. 53.34% chance to hit. All these other sportsbooks got this around minus 135. And when we put this into a 5 or 6 man flex on PrizePicks, we're getting minus 119 individual odds. So definitely attacking some great market value and getting a discount on this line. And with the hit rate and everything looking great, I'm really liking this Paolo line. But do want to go over to RotoWire, see where the projection model is. Now, they don't always line up, but when they do, when everything lines up, the odds, the hit rate, and the projection model, it really makes for a good line, makes you feel good going into the games. And I think that is the case for this Powell line, 6.5. Again, like the Duren line, everything is on the over, even though it's slightly. They're projecting 8.16. That would sound about right. That'd probably be where I put my projection. And again, the 2 matchups they've had this year, he had 8 and he had 10. So great spot for him against Atlanta, and riding with Paolo for the second play. All right, so staying on the same side of the court, going to be going to his teammate right here, Jalen Suggs, and going to be going to his 1.5 3-pointers made. Now, Atlanta does give up a decent amount of rebounds, but they also give up a decent amount of 3-pointers, a decent amount of points. It's really a good matchup in terms of a lot of stats. I don't mind this 11.5 points line for Jalen Suggs either, but he continues to get a consistent run, especially with no Gary Harris, no Franz Wagner. He's going to be the starting point guard, for a decent amount of time. So Jalen Suggs been very solid on the year. 56% of the games he's gone over this. Obviously, you see this kind of clump of greatness, and then it has tapered off a little bit recently. But I love the matchup. 25th ranked in terms of 3-pointers made allowed at 13.7 per game. And it's a team he's definitely seen success with. If he gets, 7 3-pointers, he should be, a shoo-in for this line, and shoots it pretty well against this team. The head-to-head looks great. Again, they've played each other twice this year. He had 4 in both these games and shot the ball really well, which makes me think they were pretty wide open looks. 4 for 7 and then 4 for 5. So again, assuming he gets a decent amount of looks, he should be able to crush this line. But if you're scared about the 3-point percentage or anything like that, or the recent hit rates, that 11.5 points line, I don't mind as well. So again, they kind of go hand in hand. If he gets the threes, he usually gets the points. But I like the matchup, and he's been crushing these guys, especially in the 3-point line. But let's go to the odds on OddsJam, see where they have this line, and they are favoring it for sure. But again, maybe you'll get a better sense if you want to do that points line or the 3-pointers line. Again, I like the threes line, 53.03% chance to hit, around minus 130, pretty much every other book. We're getting great value here, getting it at a discount. But we do see that points line at 11.5, about minus 125 value. So I like the 1.5 threes. It's not just because of the odds. I think the hit rate looks great. Consistently getting 4 in the 2 matchups earlier. Again, we just need 2. So those all look good, but do want to go to the projection model and see if that lines up. If it doesn't, I want you guys to see that. I'm not hiding anything here. And we're going to Suggs. And we do see that on that 1.5 3 pointers line, they're projecting 2.15. Again, we only need two. So that looks pretty good to me. But it is good to point out that 11.5 points, they're also projecting 14.04. So something to look at, and everything pointing in the right direction. So Jalen Suggs for the Orlando Magic, we're sticking with him for our third play. And then the last guy in this game that we're going to be going to, third and final play from this Orlando and Hawks game, going to be going to DeJounte Murray over 4.5 rebounds. Now, the hit rate on this one is ridiculous. And again, they recently played, so we have that data point to look at, but we'll check out the odds and everything like that, like we always do. But let's go to Outlier, kind of check out what DeJounte has been doing so far this year, and especially recently, and against this team specifically. And we're seeing 4.5 looking really good. Very consistently been getting six, especially recently. But against the Spurs, go ahead and grab 13 boards, which is awesome. Now, you might be saying, oh, rebounds allowed is not looking too good. This isn't the same team that we've seen at the beginning of the year. They've run, a whole bunch of different starting lineups. And again, without Franz Wagner, he's kind of a bigger, guard point forward kind of guy. So he definitely changes this team a lot. But they are decent at not allowing a whole bunch of rebounds. So that is something to look at. But I do like the head-to-head matchups. They face each other twice against this year. He had 6 in one game and he had 3. So he split the difference there, and we're getting around 4.5. So not too bad. That's about where the line should be. But again, I like the success, especially recently. He's definitely upped his game. And this rebounds assisted, or this rebounds allowed line is not telling the whole story in terms of especially recently for this team. So I really like this. The odds are liking this. I do expect this one to get bumped to 5.0. But it's something you still can get on Underdog and PrizePicks right now. But let's go to the optimizer, see where they got this line at, and then we'll jump into the projection model. So let's go to Murray, find his line. Go ahead and apply that, and we're seeing 54.16% chance to hit. The odds are loving this one. Hits his top line for the day. If you don't just like the rebounds line, maybe go to his rebounds and assist line. That one's looking pretty good as well. But for the rebounds line, we got minus 142 on FanDuel, minus 140 almost on pretty much everywhere else, minus 135 plus. So again, we're attacking great value here. The hit rate's been exceptional, but we do want to get that last data point on the projection model and see where they got this as well. So let's go to DeJounte Murray, 4.5 rebounds popping up right on top. They're projecting 5.09. Again, that's all we need. We just need 5. Doesn't need to be fancy. And everything is pointing in the right direction for this one. So the matchup, again, is not the best, but this Orlando team is a little bit banged up, or they have been recently, and it's not telling the whole story. So DeJounte, definitely liking him at 4.5. And again, this is available as of right now, still on PrizePicks and on Underdog. All right, so still got 2 plays for us. Going to be going to Donovan Mitchell next. 47.5 PRA. Going to be going under this one against Milwaukee. Now, this is one of the teams that he has gone over this line against, but the hit rate's been pretty crazy on the under. And also, we're getting a decent amount of value here. Everywhere else pretty much has this at 46.5, as you can see on Underdog right there. But still at 47.5 on PrizePicks. Again, just attacking some market value on this one. But we want to see this hit rate. It's pretty crazy on the under. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell is a superstar. He can go off at any moment. It's tough to do these on superstars, but when the lines are this good, you kind of have to. In terms of 2023 as a whole, he's gone under this in 79% of the games, 23 of 29 games. So to put that the other way, he's only gone over this 6 times. Now, it is something of note that one of the times this year was against Milwaukee. So again, he had 49 against these guys back, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So you have to put that in consideration for sure. But been very consistently on the under, and the odds are really liking this at 47.5. We're getting great value. So I like it. It's hard to go under on superstars. Again, it's ultimately your decision. But just pointing out that we're getting great value here, and it's looking pretty good. But do want to go to the fantasy optimizer. Before that, I should probably mention like the matchups here. It's not the best in terms of going under. Points allowed, they give up a decent amount. Rebounds allowed, they give up a middle of the road, and assists allowed, they're pretty middle of the road. To point guards, this gets a little bit of worst, at least for points and rebounds. Assists stays about middle of the road. But again, let's go to the odds and kind of see why I'm attacking this. And we'll see that the market value on this line is boosted a little bit on the under. So again, just attacking value here. Donovan Mitchell, check them out, apply that. And we do see that PRA 47.5 is popping up, 53.57 percent chance to hit. And across the board, 46.5 is the line. So this one will get bumped almost for sure. If it does get bumped to 46.5, you have to start thinking about it. I'm just attacking value here. And again, the hit rate's been great. But let's go to our projection model, see what they're saying over here on RotoWire. Pull up Donovan Mitchell, and we see that pretty heavily they're predicting on the under. They're saying 39.76. That'd be music to our ears. This will probably be a sweaty one unless Milwaukee goes crazy and blows this thing out, or Cleveland gets hot and blows this thing out. But if it happens that other way, it will probably be a big reason because of Donovan Mitchell. So again, tough to go under on these superstars, but everything pointing on the under for this one. And last but not least, we're going to be going to Brandon Ingram. This is a guy that the odds were really liking his points line. That looks like it got taken away, but that's okay because we're going to be going to his 9.5 rebounds and assist line. Again, the projections are liking him today. The odds are liking him today. Even though he's been struggling in the scoring department, he's been doing a lot of good things elsewhere. And going up against Charlotte, it should be a great spot for him to get a decent amount of assists all over the place. But let's go check out Brandon Ingram. I had already looked him up. But right here, 9.5 rebounds and assists. Odds are loving it. We'll check that out on OddsJam in a second. But 7 of the last 10 games, he's gone over this. So, again, all we need is 10. He's done this 3 times in the last 10 games. We see, a bunch of green in terms of the matchup. Rebounds allowed, assists allowed, looks great. And they have had a head-to-head matchup so far this year. About a month ago, and he went out and grabbed 3 rebounds and had 7 assists. So definitely a solid spot for him. 65% of the whole year he's done this. And again, pretty consistently throughout the year. Not really too many ruts. But in terms of his scoring, if you wanted to look at his points line, this was favored a little bit earlier. 17.5 looks like about a 50-50 line right now. But he is in a little bit of a drought scoring, which is why I feel a little bit more comfortable at this rebounds and assists line. But let's go to RotoWire, or not RotoWire. We'll check that in a second. Let's go to OddsJam, check out what the market's saying about this, and we'll check out where his lines are lying everywhere else. And we see this rebounds and assist line popping up. His top line right now, 53.55% chance to hit. So love to see that. FanDuel's got this minus 130, minus 135, pretty much everywhere else at least. And again, we're attacking great value, getting a discount on this line when we put this into a 5 or 6 man flex over on PrizePicks. And last but not least, let's go to RotoWire. Check out what the projection model is saying about this line. We'll go to Brandon Ingram. We see that 21.5 points and rebounds line. Again, they're projecting pretty heavily on the over here, but really liking this 9.5 rebounds assist line. So because not only are they projecting over, the hit rate's been great. The odds are looking really good. They're projecting 10.41. We only need 10. So everything looking good over there. Those are going to be our 6 plays. And let's go over them real quick. So Jalen Duren, 13.5 points going up against Minnesota. That's the toughest one here. Hard matchup for him, but he's been pretty consistently hitting this line. He's been shooting a very good percentage and a decent amount since Cade Cunningham has left the lineup due to injury. But again, this has blowout potential, so just keep an eye on that. Paolo at 6.5 rebounds, loving this against Atlanta. Had 10 against them recently, 8 against them earlier on. Jalen Suggs against Atlanta had 4 3-pointers in both the matchups so far this year and has been pretty consistent when he gets the shots up. DeJounte Murray over 4.5 rebounds. The hit rate on this has been crazy. Donovan Mitchell under 47.5, getting great value, and the hit rate's been awesome. And then Brandon Ingram, 9.5 rebounds and assists, going over here against an easier matchup in Charlotte. All right, so that will do it for this one. Again, attacking the value early here. So if a lot of these lines get bumped, or if you see, other lines that you're curious in, let me know in the comments down below. It could definitely be a day that I make a second video, or at the very least, get in the Discord, ask some questions in there, and I'll be pretty active on that throughout the day. As fantasy scores get added, as injuries are updated and things like that, we should have a ton of value on the board. But yeah, that will do it. I do want to mention also that is Wildcard Wednesday over on Sleeper. Don't forget to sign up for Sleeper. They're doing a $500 deposit match if you use code RICH. It also helps support the channel as well. If you're not familiar with Wildcard Wednesday, it's pretty much like Taco Tuesday over on PrizePicks, but on Sleeper. So that's another reason to get on these other platforms. They're always throwing promotions at you. And on Sleeper, we're going to get 4 solid players. I think it's 4. It's usually 4. Where they have discounted lines, up to 20 to 25%. Again, just like Taco Tuesday. So great day to get on Sleeper if you've been on the edge. Again, use code RICH to get rich. But on Underdog, also, they have a deposit match up to $100. It's great to line shop over here. Very similar to PrizePicks. They also have live lines. I always forget to mention that. If you're someone that likes to bet on games live, they do that for PICKEM. And then for Chalkboard, I don't have the thing up here. I'll try to pull it up. But they do alternate lines. So they all have their different draws. They're very unique in their different ways. So definitely check all those out. Again, links in the description. It helps support the channel if you use my codes. And if you're interested in any of the tools, Outlier has been awesome to me ever since day one. It's a tool I use every single day. OddsJam, the fantasy optimizer over here, is great. I didn't even go over DG Fantasy, but they have a fantasy optimizer. They also have the correlation tool. And then RotoWire, great projection model, definitely the top notch in the industry. But that will do it. Again, I like to give you guys as many plays as possible. Today, I gave you guys 6 plays. It's a slip that I'm playing personally. I'm not saying, hey, go blindly take my plays. I'm just trying to give you guys, as many options. And if our brains are thinking the same thing, if you like a line based on what I'm saying as well, it's probably a pretty solid play. And I'm not a YouTuber that gives you just 2 plays and celebrates our 2-man victories. I like to give you guys as many plays as possible, and you can mess around with those. But that will do it. Again, let me know anything in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, all those good things. I got to go to bed. I'll see you guys in the next one.